And we've got an agenda in front of us here that looks good to me. Is there anything else that needs to be added or amended?
Dollar General,
Is 969.
969, great, awesome.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Do we have to vote to approve the agenda? I think we do, yes.
Yeah. Make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Thank you, sir.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Sounds good. All right. Past meeting minutes from May 5th.
I approve the minutes. I move to approve the minutes from May 5th.
Also.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mhm.
Great, super
Yeah.
efficient.
Fun meeting.
Yeah.
I'm glad we had a smaller crew tonight. It's good practice. You know, like that's rhythm good. Next week we'll have a meeting with another 2 people. You know, just like, right? We're gonna do the same thing. Hitting our marks here tonight. I don't see anyone present from the public with anything.
No one popped up online either.
Cool. Bring that to a close.
Aaron, I do want to say thank you for the extra attention on the Tiger Fuel site, and that shows here. Planning Commission appreciated that as well. They've met a
good.
couple of times. They're working on the rest of the site plan.
Great.
And as they look at a couple of the other moving parts, like they bumped up against this landscape, and Zach expressed this in a joint meeting that we had of like, the landscape is good. ARB worked hard on the landscape. Don't change other things on the
Right.
site that make us go back to
Yeah.
square one there.
Right.
So thank you.
Yeah,
We'll
you're
keep an eye
welcome.
on that.
You know, it occurred to me as I was driving here that it would have been or would be, if we still want to have it, really nice to have a larger scale drawing specifically of that section, because it is so hard to see which trees they're saying save and which they're not. I can see like cedar, but I don't know what it's pointing to, and I don't know, you know. So some of them I may have been reiterating and they were saying, yes, you're saving it, but I couldn't tell. So if we want more clarification, I suggest we just ask for a larger scale drawing
Okay.
of that.
Yeah. Is that a reasonable thing to ask for as they get closer to final?
Oh, for sure, for sure. Did you try the plan set that's there? The
You know, I
blueprint
didn't.
size?
I didn't, I
Let's look
could,
at that, but if they want, if it's not hard to print it a different way.
okay.
Cool. All right. Old business.
Disposing of Tiger Fuels last month cleared the old business that we had been working on for a while. So
Okay.
nothing else carried over from last month.
Whew.
I moved the whole bit out.
You moved the whole business out.
All right. New business, mural at 350 Valley Street.
I can try to represent this on Terry and Kristen's behalf. They told me a little bit about it. But if you've got questions for them, we'll have to follow up back with them. They requested this particular date, so they definitely knew it was happening.
Okay.
So this is 350 Valley Street, the old F&M Bank building, as old timers in town know it. Sign in on this thing. And the business is called Inspired by the Dress. They won one of the town's community business launch grants, which is fun.
Nice.
It's a bridal boutique, and Carrie Butler is the applicant. She
Is she local, out of curiosity?
she's from around here, and
Okay.
the family is retiring back to this area. They have a home in Esmont, but
Nice.
Mr. Butler was a attorney in Richmond for his career. So they had this old family home retiring back here, and his retirement kind of frees her up to go full time into the business that she wants. So her home business in Richmond is turning into a storefront here.
Nice.
Good day.
Nice. Can we approve this if they're not here? Like, is it worth going through it, or should they be here to present it?
You can work on it. If you have much in the way of questions, I'll be limited in what I can do with it.
Right,
It'll need to carry over.
So I got the sign.
Yeah, I don't know, I have the sign thing too.
and not the mural.
Okay.
Yeah, murals, like the ARB's position in murals is kind of been kind of hands off in terms of what we do, because we don't want to get into the business of like dictating what the content is.
Yeah.
Of muraling, for example. Now, and that comes from the previous chair, it's Jeffrey Plank.
I recall. Mhm.
That's where this sort of comes from. And then ultimately deciding like what it is or whatever is sort of also beyond our purview. It's like artistic.
Right.
So we're not really getting into the aesthetic of it.
Mhm.
I think the real question the ARB has to decide is the site, the location,
Mhm.
mural appropriate?
And I
That's like purview of what we're doing.
thank you for restating that. I couldn't recall, and it makes me wonder, like, did you ever engage that as a loophole? Like if my cupcake business, I want people to know there's cupcakes there, and I'm limited to a sign that's this big.
Right.
But if I paint a cupcake that's this big on the side of my building,
Right.
right? I've gotten around that.
Mhm.
Do we care?
I don't know.
Okay.
We haven't seen that yet.
Yeah,
Right.
hasn't come up.
You know.
So this is a
Well,
good example of where it comes on.
Yeah, this
right?
is a,
It's an interesting depiction of a wedding dress, and it
Right.
certainly makes more of a, it's a head turner in a way that the small sign isn't.
right,
Um, but I wasn't sure I personally like the mural idea, but I wasn't sure how to regulate this.
yeah.
Yeah.
I have to say that blank wall, the shift of the lower facade in relationship to the upper facade has always irritated me because of that blank wall. And I really appreciate that they're taking advantage of it, because then it is no longer a blank wall. I don't love the plum purple, and I don't mind the purple of the dress so much. It's the trim that I find very what's the term? I guess a better way of putting it is like, is it within what we request for colors for buildings around here?
That's a good question, and the trim color is certainly appropriate.
Because otherwise I think the mural works
Yeah.
compositionally.
Mhm.
I don't know that the color works with
Has
our,
the building been repainted, the doors?
No.
Because what did we
blue,
approved blue,
and it never got painted.
right?
Because the tenant changed.
Yeah.
The gift shop owner wanted the blue, and then she moved.
So I think
About that. Mission Park.
I think it is that color. I think the trim is that dark purple.
I think to your question, Eric, it's sort of like what we are concerned with. I think our question would then just maybe relate to the door and window paintings.
Yeah.
And we need a separate COA for that. And I think that we could talk about color with.
Yeah.
The mural, I think, is also just like site location, is this gonna work? And maybe do we see this as a workaround for a larger sign? Kind of works, it's kind of abstract, it's not,
Yeah,
Yeah, balance of that.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a nice thing that.
I'm not sure about how it's printing versus projecting, but this is a two-tone purple sign.
Yeah.
The color code is given, and it shows better on my screen. It is a dark purple.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's the Pantone 2695.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah, that's
did they call that out as the trim color?
it matches on there. So which color is that supposed to be?
That is the 271C.
Yeah.
it looks like they don't have a COA for the trim, they just have it for the sign. So what Zach is saying is they need a COA for the trim in the door.
Yeah, you might call the mural exempt and the sign thing, but then you would want to talk about this as being
Yeah.
a separate issue.
Well, I wouldn't say the murals exempt. I think the murals also need the COA. I think our adjudication though is just this question of, does it fit this space?
Yeah, and if we can't do the trim without the mural.
That's right.
Right, so go hand in hand.
But I wonder if there is some feedback we could give the applicants related to color for the trim or approach to the trim that might be helpful.
I guess I wonder, could it be white? With that, it might look strange with the,
Can you pull up?
Stucco.
I just want to see what it looks like currently.
Yeah.
Oh, it's also on this.
can you go back to the rendering of the mural? So this actually makes that stucco look a lot less yellow. I'd be curious to see an actual paint sample next to this yellow stucco, because this looks grayer. And I'm not, like, are they proposing they're painting the stucco too?
Yeah, I wonder if that photo is touched up that way.
Yeah.
There is a gray color on the side.
She might have taken it from. I think it'd be good to see an actual paint sample in hand,
Yeah,
so we can put it up against the yellow stucco.
for the trim.
Probably for it all.
Yeah.
You guys see how yellow that is?
It does, but I'm also not sure if like the material, like it's just projecting.
Right. Who, yeah, well,
But
that's
again,
the
hence
thing,
the
you don't know.
But I guess my question, then, come back to the trim thing, is like, if we don't want, it doesn't sound like we're very supportive of doing sort of monochromatic purple across the building. Is there a strategy that you would prefer and direct them to so that they can get samples to us and explore some other options?
Right. I guess I would, in the interest of kind of throwing out ideas, I'd be interested in maybe a plum door and then the rest of it white. And having this, I was gonna say having the arch element be white, but
I think this is a different color. I think this is a manipulated photo, the way it like pixels around this,
yeah,
and that might be a color change proposed. I think she put a wash of color on it that's different from what was there.
One of the things we discussed with the new door was leaving the window
yeah,
leaving that intact at the same color as the outside of the building,
right,
so that the door popped more.
right.
Um,
And I think that would be nice,
keeping two tones on the doors and the windows.
right?
So in that picture, the door would just change color.
Right. I think
That's
that's
the trim window.
Or
Or the would be A color and the B color. would be blue. Right. Yeah, I think that
Or they,
would be cool.
I think the brown with the purple would,
those brown might not be the color, but
right?
Right.
But
But
just
is
the
there
door
another-
being purple and then the trim being,
trim being something else.
okay, yeah, like white or. I mean, the other thing is, it looks like they have a sort of, they have silver in here, so could they pick up like a gray? And do the trim gray or white?
Or it could, I mean, it could be like a little gray with a very, like a cut. Plum. So it's not quite right, because that whole building, there's no real, bright contrast.
Yeah.
But I think we just need more information.
Yeah, I think we need a COA for the door, the trim, the facade, if they're repainting that, and that needs to have paint samples. Like physical paint samples that we can hold on to.
Yeah, you always lose something on these with the printout and the projection. You're not getting true color either way.
And we need to be able to like put it up against the wall if they're saying we're keeping the wall the yellow.
Oh, I forgot about the pattern.
Oh, that's under here, actually.
Oh, okay.
That's
We're coming to
repair
that.
maintenance. Yeah, we're coming to that.
I also forgot something, but I can bring it up. So are we good on that?
I'll share those notes and invite them back on July 7th.
Great.
To get pen.
The thing I forgot is farmstead doors. I would like to look back at what she proposed, because I think the double doors at Farmstead I do not remember approving a color for that, because I really like the wood doors and she painted them like a teal. And I'd like to see what we approved.
Okay. I'll go back and look
Yeah,
at that.
that does seem like a step backwards. But I do remember her promoting the idea of.
I do too. That's something we could address this evening.
I don't know, can we look back at all and see? Or would that be?
Well, there's nothing,
Give us a brief recess to dig up the old minutes. And I can
well,
look
there's
back at-
nothing that could be done. I mean, we're meeting in just 2 weeks from now anyway. We move that to July.
Yeah, definitely. I just wanted to bring it up.
I'll check on it. I've got a routine of inspections on these when they're complete. So it looks like that work has been completed. I haven't seen anything else done. So I'm due to go check on it and confirm that what we've done is what we approved.
Great,
And we've got that process in place.
great.
Okay. So I'll call that a completion inspection.
All right, did they say they were gonna wash the brick?
I don't know.
All right, so that's the conclusion of new business.
Kristen's here. She found it.
Oh,
Hello, hello. Good evening. Can you hear us?
Hey, can you hear me?
hi.
Okay.
Hey, guys.
Welcome, welcome. Thank you for jumping on short notice.
No problem.
We were taking a look at the sign and paint scheme over at 350. Thank you. And the board had a few questions about that. I'm going to share this screen with the work that you submitted on it. Thank you.
Huh?
Okay, so so we're looking at the painting of the doors and windows and the mural as two separate things.
Okay.
As far as the ARB's approach to murals in town, we aren't sort of in the business of dictating content of murals or even sort of the aesthetic of muraling. That's just a thing that our ordinance does not give us purview over. However, so in our discussion of the mural, we're really just talking about site and location. So does the site and location work for what you're going to do? And the consensus here seems to be that the site and location of that mural is nice for balancing out the building.
Gotcha. Okay.
That's the mural conversation. We're gonna need we'll do a COA just for the mural that indicates that feedback.
Okay.
The thing that we were discussing at greater length here, and it looks like we want some more information about, is the painting of the doors and windows. We approved a COA for this building like a few months ago to have the door itself repainted.
Right.
And one of the things that we were talking about at that point was basically painting the door, which is gonna be like a blue or something, but then leaving sort of the rest of the trim intact, so that the door would kind of pop, and then having some two-tones to echo the building itself. And the discussion that we were just having here was about the purple, and it seems that there is a need for some actual paint samples to look at.
Okay.
We were also discussing the two-tone nature, but I'll turn it over to Aaron or John here if they want to add some.
Yeah, and just to keep in mind, a lot of this is based off of what the tenant is requesting, and the landlord has agreed to do at this point, because of her plan for permanence in that space, has agreed to kind of just she's seen this, or they've both seen this and agreed to do whatever ends up getting approved by the ARB, but also what the tenant, inspired by the dress, is most interested in, as far as color scheme goes and how it reflects the business itself. And so this is what the tenant approved of, that I submitted to her, but changes, like we do have some paint samples at this point, which we didn't when I first submitted this. And we can also change to 3-tone instead of 2-tone. I mean, she is more like, likes this color palette, but we could add an additional paint color so it's 3-tone instead of 2-tone.
Well, thank you. That's good. That's good prep all around.
Yeah.
We also had a question from our technology is the stucco, the base color changing?
It is. So let me see if I can, yes. So the base color currently is like a yellowish tan. And this would be kind of it was hard for me to, like, in this rendering, get the quite the proper color, but it would be more of a light gray.
Okay.
Yeah, and seeing that it doesn't show up so much as yellow as it is in this image we're looking at right now, but it's quite a bit more yellow than that. I guess maybe in that, yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Image. So it wouldn't be that, it would be just switching to kind of a mid to light tone gray.
Okay, great.
Okay, so those are the paint samples that we look at.
Hi, Kristen.
Hi, Aaron.
So what we were talking about, in line with what Zach was bringing up about the COA that we had approved previously, was potentially the door being the more plum purple, so a kind of highlight, and then the trim being either a really light purple or a gray or white, and having 2 tones or 3 tones in there, I guess, to follow what is already happening. Maybe it's just 2 tones that's already happening now, but so that the plum actually becomes the pop rather than it covering all of the trim and the
Yeah,
door.
that makes sense. Yeah, and we're like fully able to adjust that. What the landlord had submitted before was the blue door, but like everything else staying the same. And now with these changes that inspired by the dress wants, she's really flexible as far as that sort of thing goes. So I'm thinking if I adjust it to keep the door like the plum purple, and then we just change the trim to a lighter, or maybe even matching the dress color purple.
What do you think about
Whatever suggestions you guys have too.
is the facade the Pantone Cool Gray 4C?
The what? Sorry, say that again.
Okay, is it the You know what may be helpful, if we can do it this way? You bring in the samples, and with the samples, we look at what the trim. Like, then we're more informed about the colors, and we look at what the trim possibilities would be.
We're not certain what we're looking at on the screen here.
Gotcha. Okay.
Would that?
I have some, yes. I have some samples. I can actually, if you give me a few minutes, I can put those together and bring those down to you now and just join you in person real quick.
Or we could do it.
Skip to some other things.
Okay.
Sure.
I mean, yeah, I just know that she wants to get this decided soon because she's hoping to, Terry's hoping to have this like start this like by July, or have it, get it going and start to get painted as soon as possible. So
Yeah,
Appreciate that.
I
I don't know if she like to wait till the next meeting. I don't know if she
Right.
would be too happy about that.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Okay,
We think that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. We'll see you in a few minutes then.
Yeah, we'll
Great,
get
sounds good.
stuff done there.
all right, bye.
Right?
Okay, 6A will go very briefly. Consultation with any property owners in attendance.
How are you doing?
Which gets to the enforcement action part of
Yes.
this.
What's the timeline? That's my question. So where are we at?
I double checked that legal notice with Jim Bowling, and so he's got another version of the hey, we're serving you like last chance part, which probably put in a big envelope and some like red stamp on it. That's
Yeah.
like legal action.
Uh-huh.
Pay attention to this.
Yeah.
And try that one more round.
Okay.
But we'll serve that notice now. I talked with him, our attorney, at the beginning of the week, and it's not even a courtesy notice. It's the first legal notice that like you have a zoning violation, you need to address this, has now fully passed. And so the next step is we're gonna go to court on this unless you show up and fix it for real. And I don't think some of these property owners have absorbed that this is a law that you're breaking, and the sheriff's deputies will deliver you a summons if you don't fix it.
Right.
And that's just not a bridge that we've crossed before.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so then likely we would have a discussion about moving forward with enforcement at our August meeting.
That would be the failure to appear part. And so we have the paper evidence file that we bring to the judge is years of poor condition and our attempts at outreach culminating in this legal notice. And now we feel concerned enough about this to bring a zoning violation case, the facts of which are not in dispute. We've documented the poor condition and the owners haven't done anything about it. Mr. Bowling's guidance was that it's rare to impose hefty penalties immediately. And I saw this with a structural case that I worked earlier in my job here. It was, the court ordered to postpone the case, set a new court date, and then along the lines of, I don't want to see you back in my courtroom again, so fix it before your next court date. And then your problem is contempt of court, in addition to a zoning violation, which makes clear sense. So it gets us resolution on these before the end of the year.
Right. And really resolution, just so we're all clear on it, is really not even fixing the problem. It's just coming up with a plan to fix the problem.
Yeah.
That's really what we're
Yeah.
looking for. It's like, you've met with us and we've now created a COA with some action steps to start moving towards remediation.
Just
Because
create,
we do know that some of these properties have substantial issues they take a lot of money or time
reasons
to
with their heart,
fix
right? But
So-
it creates a relationship together that hasn't
Exactly.
existed before.
and oversight for us.
That'll be good. The other part of that is the tax sale coming up on a couple of them. I spotted that with Jim as well.
Mhm. How does he see that as figuring into enforcement or?
It throws a wrench in it.
Yes.
Tax sale?
We got we got alerted about a tax delinquency auction coming up on 380 and 390 East Main Street, the dollhouse on the one next to it. Unrelated to anything we're doing. The property, in addition to being in poor condition, is also behind on its taxes. And so it's going to sale. And it means that we likely have a new owner to deal with,
Right.
which is good news, bad news. And what our attorney's advice was there was be sure that the description of the property at the auction included, it's in the historic district, enforcement action is in progress. If you buy this for $1, you have a case on your hands. Welcome to the neighborhood.
That's good guidance.
Yeah, so we'll get the proper wording of that to make sure that the auctioneer includes that in the record.
Very good. And when does that go for auction?
Not sure yet. We only just found out about it pending,
Gosh, I wish I had the money to do
right?
that.
Projects.
Right, money and time.
Okay, so that sounds like that actually satisfies those of you following on 6A and 6D, which were consulting with property owners and poor condition notices of multiple properties. I'm going to 6B.
I spoke with both of those property owners. This is the Tavern on the James and the florist shop next to it. Neither of them contested the problem. It wasn't, there wasn't a difficult conversation. That was work that should have been permitted. The florist gave me a sign permit application yesterday, and I don't know why he's not here this evening, but I'm happy to attempt this one the same way.
Yeah, I mean, the sign permit again is kind of like doesn't meet the specs. So, yeah.
So he describes a 43-inch by 17-inch projecting sign sticking out from the side of the building, and that's a fine size, common with what we've got. The owner of the building is Robert Pollard, and he consents to this. The florist is David Strong. The description of the sign is hung from the bracket over the front door, which is existing. It is slightly arched, 3 feet and change wide, 3 foot 5 inches wide, 17 inches in height. And it says text flowers on the run on the panel. It doesn't say anything about color. It gives the shape.
Isn't it required to have some kind of rendering?
Hello.
Hi.
I was supposed to leave town this afternoon.
I know you were.
Our plans got derailed and I'm actually here.
Well, we've moved on to, do you want to finish up 6B or since?
It's up to you all.
Well, it is always the ARB's custom to take the applicant who is here. first, the applicant who is here.
Welcome.
So we'll take that.
Okay. All right,
Welcome,
so, these were the palettes that we had. So like really any combination of these, this is the kind of dark purple,
That's a nice purple.
yeah, that we were thinking about for the dark parts.
Mhm.
The building as a whole, how it hadn't like been fully decided, but kind of like a light gray that's in the sort of lavender tone. This one's called Violet Pearl. That was a contender. This one, really, all three of these.
That's super helpful because you look down the screen
Yeah.
for printing it here, it doesn't show as well.
Can I just say?
Yes.
I think because you've got so many yellow tones up here, I think you need to lean more towards less gray, more yellow
Oh, yeah.
for the facade, one of these. Because otherwise it's gonna be strange.
Silver bells.
And then like maybe like I mean, the witch color,
I like that.
Uh-huh.
Because I think that's gonna get with washed out.
Yeah.
That was gonna be the.
Is this the mural?
No, it really like, that light purple that I did was more in right brown here.
Oh, okay.
But like I said, it can be adjusted. We just kind of want to stay in the terms of her.
Yeah, okay, let's put that. in there.
Because a lot of it just also dependent on what works and is approved by you guys too, so.
Right. Is it okay that I read
It's 1,000.
What do you think about, what all of you think about this? Like, this is the door. One of these is the facade. And this is the trim.
What color's on there?
I'm wondering if the trim is that's too light for the, is that too light for the trim?
The mural is not one of these. But should we, were you thinking
I was
that?
thinking something more in that trim for the trim, if we're gonna change the color of the trim.
Oh, okay.
Like this being the door. Just give it a trim.
Right. And then what being the mural?
Honestly, I would just keep it the same.
And which is the second?
We
No, I thought it was.
Oh, yeah, one of these.
You said
One of those grades.
Oh.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, I almost feel like this one might be a little too light.
Yeah.
Or too reflective.
When you get a big wall.
What do you think, Matt?
Which one do you want for the facade? No, on the top one.
So facade. It's just a-
And honestly, this gray color she has is like.
Yeah.
is that-
Well, it looks like you have a gray in the
Yeah.
pediment. Is there another color in the pediment?
The pediment was, I put as the same color as the dress. It doesn't really look like it because it's so,
Yeah, it looks like another color.
purple, but it's not. So I was thinking that whatever color the pediment and the dress and the pediment would match, but it's sounding like what we're gonna do is change the trim. So whatever, I think whatever color the trim is, that will also be the dress.
Do you guys feel like we need to stay with the two-tone? Or? Because if so, then we should. Like, I think a gray could
Mhm.
be a part of that.
So. I feel like this is also a nice possibility if we don't ever need another like circle color.
So door, facade,
Trim.
trim.
And then that remains the
And
mural
then
color.
this could be the mural color.
That's nice.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Can you write that down?
I'm very agreeable, and basically Terry's told me whatever I figure out, and that you guys agree to.
I like
that's
keeping
it.
the mural
So-
color distinct
Yeah,
from
from
the
the
building.
trim. Yeah,
So
that
it
makes
kind of
sense.
pops up like, this is mural.
Yeah.
As opposed to, this is building.
Emerging from the trim.
Yeah.
So this is mural,
Mural.
this is facade.
Yes.
The bench in that picture is a pretty recent addition.
Yeah.
The time that's the bench and another bench. And then I moved that bench to another spot in town that needed it. Does the bench, do you want the bench back? Or is
I
it
don't think it
better
needs
if there's
that.
not a bench in front of it?
Oh, it doesn't matter. It could stay there, it could come back there, it could be there. I would ask Terry whether, as far as having that.
Okay, well, I'll deal with that later, but since you're gonna have tankers in front of it, I'll hold off.
It's nice for the
Well, I
curves.
know, it looks
I
great.
think it looks, that
Yeah.
looks with the curves of the
It does.
So this does not include a two-tone. Essentially, we're just saying all trim is
Yeah.
this color.
Here's a question, because currently this, the door is this lighter color. The trim around the door and this main trim around the windows is the dark brown. But then all of this is this light that matches the building. I'm wondering if we want to do that part that's in the brown on the windows, the dark purple. I don't know.
Well,
What your thought? Or we could do the trim as dark purple. I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
I think I like this as a highlight.
Like just
That's
as
the
the
doors.
door?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the trim. That.
Yeah.
I think so, sure.
It'll,
Charlotte.
so no two-tone, just.
Just.
Do you have an opinion about?
I kind of lost it there.
Do you, I guess the question is, do we want to stay with the two-tone? Or are we okay with this all being one tone, this color,
Oh,
except for the door?
that's okay with me.
Okay,
Yeah,
I mean, I can also,
I guess with the dark purple, door color, we also want the transom above the door. We want that done in the dark purple as well.
yeah, I would say.
so transom and. Right, what did you call, what's this? The,
Piece right here.
right, because then what about that?
Yeah, that was, what did you
That's
call
the
that?
pattern.
So that, that I would not take the dark purple.
Right,
I would do it the trim color.
Great, I think that
Yeah.
sounds good. I think that would be nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
So two colors, the transom door and the dark purple, that the gray for the rest of the window trim work.
Yeah, this darker gray,
Yeah.
the trim work.
And then we've got the facade. They're good. And then we got the mirror.
So it'll be,
There's a lot going on.
there's a lot going on
Right.
anyway.
Yeah, yeah, load it up.
But this looks, I think that looks
Yeah. No, it's that.
classy.
Yeah. Great.
That's
So.
why I addressed there.
Right. So, she needs to do a COA for this, but can we, like?
We had that pulled up, but we couldn't figure out what the best way was to fill it out based on the fact that we weren't really changing anything but the code. And, but we, yes, I have one printed out for to fill out.
So if she's in a hurry, is it possible for her to do it with us, having already gone through this and let's see?
I mean, we workshop the COA here, so I think what we can approve are the conditions.
Yeah.
And then all we have, and so we've just done the COA verbally.
Right.
So I think they're recorded in the minutes, we articulate them as a motion.
Get back to them.
Paperwork.
I'm looking forward.
Great, great.
Yeah, and she's in California right now. She's like, what do I need to, I was like, I think we'll be okay, but I'm also gonna be out of town, so hopefully. I don't have many problems, but luckily I'm already not.
Well,
We're not
shall
leaving
we,
till Monday.
shall we call out the numbers or shall we hand them?
Yeah, I'll keep those in attachment.
Yeah.
That's fine.
And I would just
Or I
specify,
can just, I don't have my phone on me, but I could get a picture of them.
Or shall we?
I would
verbally
just,
say, make a motion?
yeah, why don't we verbally make a motion?
Okay.
So, I guess I move to approve the future COA of the repainting of the facade, door and trim of Inspired by the Dress. What's the address?
350.
350 Valley Street. With the door and the transom above the door painted in Rugged Coast,
Rugged Coast.
41, do I need to give you the numbers or are the names? 41A-5N.
Complicated number.
No. With the mural in 1446, Dusk to Dawn. The facade, 1458, Silver Bells. And the trim, 1460, Silver
Silver what?
dollar,
Ah,
with
of course.
no two-toning.
Thank you very much. That's clear.
I would second that motion. I do second that motion to approve the CFA. The 8 colors I described.
On favor?
Hi,
Aye.
Thank you, board.
thanks, Kristen.
You're welcome.
Glad you've been.
How's your-
I'm
able to
glad
pop
that we
over.
tell him. It's all because of him. Because we had a snag with.
Good job, good job, Loki.
Let the record show Loki
Got
helped.
it done.
Loki is the man of
Got it
business and
done.
nothing else.
Yeah.
No question.
You guys
We
don't.
need a committee member.
Yeah.
Town resident. Interesting.
He's like, I'm out.
So,
So do you guys need these or I can hold on to these for the,
This is fine.
that's fine.
All good there. Cool.
thanks,
Thanks,
Kristen.
Chris.
No problem. See you soon.
See you
Good.
soon. Glad we got that done. That'll, and I'll adjust it on the rendering too, so Terry can see. They won't be exact to these, but that will.
Great,
You guys can do that.
great, thank you.
All right.
All right.
See you soon.
While we are on this property, we'll also need to make a motion on the sign itself.
Yeah.
But a separate item. I think we can do that here this evening with similar.
We want to change the purple to the building color.
I think it's good.
I'll make a motion to approve the sign as submitted.
I second that.
All in favor?
Hi.
Thank you. All right. Moving from one sign to another sign, back to our flowers on the run.
Mhm.
So the guidelines for signs that read the ordinance, we should consider dimensions, subject matter, materials, color, letter styles, legibility, overall effective placement, in addition to the size and such. So I think it would be appropriate to ask the applicant to give us a more detailed schematic,
Yep.
lettering and colors.
He dropped that off briefly and I didn't get to study it. There you go. I'll
Yeah.
go back and do that.
Yeah, so just invite him to so we can get that drawn up, invite him to July 7th.
Sure.
Let's move that ahead to old business for next time.
I think you'll have the 280 Valley Street one at that meeting as well. They talked about it and didn't dispute it. I'm not sure why someone didn't get here. But they will be looking for approval of their project as presented. This
Yep.
is what it looks like. So I think their application will just be more photos of this and the cover sheet. But I'll let them talk to it.
And I'm not sure if it's worth discussing in that meeting, like how we might have improved this differently. And I don't know if with this, we would have like said no. The one thing I think we might have discussed would have been like 2 tones on the pillar or on the edge there, where it's the black stripes.
Yeah.
You know, otherwise, I think like, I don't know if this board would have had any issue with the overall approach. I don't know if that's worthwhile bringing up with the property owner as part of that meeting or not. But what is the color of the windows? It's not like it's not brown. The storefront,
It's like a,
or is it dark gray?
you mean the trim or the
Yeah,
mullions
sure.
or I think it's black.
Yeah,
Older black?
yeah, it's like a,
Yeah.
it's older, but it's black.
Well, what would you think about painting the sign area black? So then the columns would stand out a little bit more.
The,
white-
the
big white-
above,
Yeah. big
the
white.
band above.
I don't think so. No, because it would make that capital, which is like a two-tone capital on top of that column. I think it would make the white on that seem more prominent than it is currently. You know what I mean?
What was
I
it?
like the lightness on the corner. I like.
What was it before?
It's not that much different than what it is.
Yeah, except that they painted the concrete. I guess I don't love any of this, but my biggest concern is that they've painted over the concrete to cover up cracking. And they didn't actually deal with the issue. I don't know if that's true or not. Over to the left, like,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
and so I guess I just like it if we could look at that and see if they actually fixed the issue or they just painted over it.
Good question.
I think the other thing is painting concrete where you walk is not very smart because it flakes over time and yeah, and it just looks bad. And I'm frustrated that they did come to us first before doing that. Getting that off is going to be challenging. I guess.
It's also dangerous the way they paint it. But when you come down the stairs, you'll see black. You won't see it edge.
Mhm.
So I don't know if we want to bring that up at all.
I would only bring it up if we are actually serious about having them remediate.
Right.
If we as a board are sort of, this is also an applicant who does not often come to these meetings,
Right.
or heed our calls.
Right.
So I do feel like in a way, having the applicant here would be a step in the right direction of building some positive social capital around maintenance. So I think if we were going to ask them to do, if we were going to raise an issue about what was done, we need to be serious in the board that we are
Right.
actually going to make them remediate the board.
I mean, they changed the sign.
Yeah, that was something else that they did not. They got a retroactive COA for it.
Mhm.
How serious are you about the safety of those steps?
I don't want somebody to be directing them there. Looks like it's.
And so you're
Do
saying
they need a
because
rail?
they're
Is
black,
it 3 risers or 4?
That might turn into a building code issue, actually,
Yeah.
not a historical purpose. Half a step, one.
That's even worse.
you're saying because they're painted black that it's hard to decipher distance.
Set your footing.
Yeah, you won't see the edge because it'll be black on black from the angle of view.
Well, I think if that is in our purview, then somebody should go make sure that's the case. That is what it looks like. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but we should double check that.
The staircase safety feature goes to the building official, not me.
Yeah.
I can't judge that.
Then can we bring it up with the building code official?
At this point, it feels important to.
Yeah, I mean, people are drinking.
Yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
And then it's uneven steps too. I mean, that last one is just,
Mhm.
I guess maybe people that are regulars know about it, avoid
Mhm.
having a weird bottom step.
And nothing to hold on to.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what the railing requirement is. Some buildings in town have them and some don't.
You could probably get a waiver from the historic building, but it's
Mhm.
2 to 3 risers, 30 inches. It doesn't look like it's 30 inches. tall.
But that's a separate thing, which I can refer that, over. If it's a problem, but we don't have to work on building code.
You might want, yeah. I would do it unofficially, then do it officially, then you take liability for it. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I guess the only other thing I don't really understand is like, what's happening here and here? And also, is that just when it was,
This is a recent photo. It was like that for some time. So I don't know if you're looking at additional.
Finished? The question?
so I guess we just need to confirm, like, was that painted black? Was this painted white? Was that given another
Yeah,
coat?
this is a recent photo. This wasn't taken right after the painter's photo.
Oh,
That it's either it was done poorly or aged poorly or
right.
they missed the spot.
So if they're gonna do it, complete it.
I think that's a reasonable request. For a retroactive seal.
Were you planning on doing anything else?
Right.
Yeah,
I think that would be a fair way to approach the conversation. And I think if we're gonna ask them to do something, it would be to finish something.
right.
And it's not, hey, this was wrong, go back and do
Right.
something.
That's to remediate something.
Yeah. So foundation. Trim.
Mhm.
Would you call that trim? That area? What would you call that?
Up there, that's an embellisher, but it's just all trim.
Word of the day.
Anything that goes above or around the thing.
You said pediment, and Kristen picked right up on it.
Yes. Okay. Well, I think a white part is all the free.
Copyright architectural detail book.
Right.
That
We go to learn on
defines
the
it.
ARB.
Thank you, sir.
There are a couple things, the doors, trim, there's a facade, which could be any wall, any wall.
Oh.
Punchy.
Okay,
That's great. How did your, didn't you have a memorial?
that's on Sunday.
It's on Sunday.
Juneteenth.
I'm sorry?
Juneteenth,
Yes.
and that's happening outside this
Over.
building?
I can't flip on this one. It's going there. Where that car is parked is the shadiest spot, but it's also like blocked in by other car spots. So it's easy to get blocked in there. It's a bad parking space.
Uh-huh.
That's the corner of the old Minerva Lewis store, which I understand was a building very like this one.
Oh, wow.
Which no longer exists, and operated in the same kind of way as a tavern and
Oh, interesting.
apartment building and general store at different times, and
Wow.
was lost to floods and
Oh,
so on, and changed hands in its parking lot. So we can restore its history and talk about what used to be there.
nice.
I think that's neat. I'd like to say more in different ways about the buildings that used to be here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the
That's it.
public art project we're getting our
Alright.
grant for.
I like that.
Is there a did you all decide on a landscape strategy?
It's a low hardscape of Riverstone with a bench on it.
Nice.
The linden tree is nice and is one that we professionally maintain. So the monument sign goes there and there's a place where you can sit in the shade.
Great.
The jaunt bus commuter route also runs this way. So I think it'll serve as a nice bus stop where you can sit there and then
Nice.
run around this corner and get on the bus.
Assuming the bus sees you.
The bus stops on time whether anyone's there or not.
Oh,
So good for
Nice.
that. Good for that. I've seen it happen.
That's part of the job,
Yep.
that's what you get paid for, stop the bus. Cool. All right,
Great.
Very nice.
all right, so that leads us to landscaping violation at 969 Dodge Street.
I did make a couple of calls back to the property management office in Roanoke, this was something I've learned. The site is owned by this commercial real estate company, and then Dollar General leases their building on that. So the landscaping is not Dollar General's problem. It's MCE Real Estate in Roanoke's problem, which helps a lot because they're a smaller company that's in-state, easier to work with.
But then why did Dollar General make it their problem?
The nature of commercial leases, I think Dollar General cares about like the contents of their building and nothing else. And so you can make a lease that says,
No, I mean, why did Dollar General take it on and hire a landscape architect and do that?
they
work?
didn't, the first firm that was here was from this Roanoke company.
Oh.
And so when I finally got hold of the Dollar General higher up, they like looked at their lease and said, yeah, we don't have to do that. And gave it to MCE in Roanoke. They're the folks that we have failed to work with. So
Oh.
left a couple of phone messages with them and didn't get anything back for this. I think I want to escalate that to the same kind of legal notice. We've been around this enough times. And they specifically failed to perform on something where we gave them the option of plant the plants in the fall or in the spring. You can't do it in the winter, and we were
Right.
more than patient on that. And they didn't do it. So that's the breaking a COA. Here's the thing that you said you would build and you didn't.
Yeah.
That's a problem. So that again is an easy evidence trail.
Yeah.
We gave you all kinds of time to do this. And didn't. So I'll do that. I'm sorry they're not here.
Okay.
Nowhere to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks for doing that work.
That brings us to the conclusion of our agenda this evening, unless there's another item to come before this evening. We do have a vacancy on the board, as you can see, Barbara is no longer with us here, which does leave a vacancy at the town resident to fill. That has informed me there's no like deadline for filling that seat necessarily. We just need to have a forum to do our meetings and make sure the people here are filling the appropriate resident, non-resident seat. So that's where we are. If you know a town resident who'd like to serve on the board, who works at the supply company.
Kimberly.
I don't think she lives in town.
Good thought.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, exactly.
You're looking out these windows at these old buildings.
Yeah,
Aren't they nice?
yeah. So anyway,
Okay.
we need a town resident. They're hard to come by, so they're only 575 bucks or something like that.
Everyone
So,
gets a chance.
yeah, exactly. So find or see know someone who might have an interest. Let them know. I'll do the same. Cool.
Thank
So
you.
with that, I just need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, that's great.
That was efficient.